Alright everybody, we're back. Look at some of these questions after we'd set up our master sketch. I kind of rewrote this a little bit, cleared out some of the clutter. So again, what we have is our list of the 6 different days, I guess the order in which stuff can be done. We listed out the things that couldn't be done on certain days, and then we summarized the rules into these little blocks right over here. So with that being stated, now let's go ahead and look at some of the questions. We'll start with the first one. Now, remember, with a strict sequencing game, I guess I could say, quote me on this, I want to say every single time the very first question is something that is relatively straightforward. Remember, it's asking which one could be the order. We're looking for what is something that is possible. Meaning, as a review, wrong answer is going to be what must be false. That would be a wrong answer. These would be things that we could cross off. Now, when something could be the order of first to last of the student's activities, basically what we're looking through is each of these, A through E, which one violates any of our rules. And let's just quickly, again, our rules basically summarized. K has to be before H and G have to be right next to each other, J and M have to be right next to each other, L comes afterwards. So let's just go down the line. Let's start with, there's different ways that people do this. One way that people have to handle this is they'll just take A, for example, and check it with both of these rules, and if it violates it, then that's out, or whatever. Other people start with a rule and go down through the list and see if that rule is violated anywhere. I have a very distracted mind. It's hard for me to keep stuff to it. I like to go with take the rule and filter through each one of them. Okay, so that's what I'm just going to do here, but do you, as always. All right, so let's see. Rule number 1 was KHG. So let's see. Does that violate, let's see, A. KHG, HG right there. K is in front of it. Okay, that's not violated there. KHG, okay, that's a problem. B is out because K comes after H and G. KHG, nope, that's not violated. KHG, that's not violated. KHG, that's violated. Okay, that's a problem. All right, so those two are out right there. Now I go on to rule 2. We need JM together and L afterwards. JM, not together, that's out. Let's see, we've down to C or D. J and M need to be right next to each other. Well, they are, but L needs to be afterwards, so that's out, so we're down to D. D is our answer. Yeah, that wasn't so terrible. Yeah, okay, there's that. Pause the video if you're confused over that one. Let's look at 12. Now, one thing I want to point out real quickly. I was looking at this, and it seems like for 12 and 13, we'll talk about 12, 13, and 14 are a little irritating in the sense that they are asking for which one of the following activities cannot be something. Can't be true, can't be fifth, can't be third. Well, what that means is this is a little bit irritating, because that means the correct answer, I'll put this down just for a second. This is a teachable moment. Correct answer is a must be false. In other words, this is something that violates a rule. Okay? Now, the problem with this is that the wrong answer, the stuff that we have to cancel out, are stuff that could be true, right? If we're looking for stuff that has to be false, something that is not absolutely false, well, that's when we're in either could be true or must be true, right? We're in that zone there. Well, this is a little bit tricky. These are hard to eliminate. If you're looking for something that could be true, it basically means that if you plug it into your master sketch, it doesn't break any of the rules. That takes some time. Now, normally what happens, what I would recommend, is that if you were hit with question 12, for example, and it said which of the following can't be on number 3, and you had this whole long list, generally what I would recommend is I would skip that question, and I would try handling some of the other ones, because based upon your sketch, right? Say I worked out question 13. I answered this one. And in so doing, I found out, for example, in the sketch that I made that, I don't know, J is on 3. Well, and then I could go back to question 12, and I know that, well, that means since J, it's possible, I made a scenario where J could in fact be on 3, that would eliminate answer choice C. Right? Because we're looking for something that just is impossible. There's no way that could happen. If I can come up with a way where it could, that would eliminate the answer choice. But here's my issue with this, is that pretty much all the questions here involve this whole scenario where we have to find a what must be false. What's asking you to find something that violates the rule. So there's really not a whole lot we can do other than to go through each example and see what happens. So that, apologies in advance, but that looks like what we're going to kind of have to do at the moment. So let's just go ahead and look at 12. Which of the following activities cannot be third? And here's what I would recommend. We have 5 different things that we could try playing with to see if they break any of the rules. But here, let's just set this up for a second. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, the first thing is, unfortunately, we don't have any restrictions on 3 based on our master sketch, right? There was nothing there that we said couldn't be there. So that doesn't really help us narrow anything down. But what I would go with, your rule of thumb should be, picking your rules, take the ones that are the most restrictive. And what I mean by that is the ones that are most forced to be in a specific location, either next to something or in some, like in front of something, whatever it might be. And it looks like from our rules, I'm going to say H and G are the most restrictive. H and G, H and or G. Because you think about it, H and G, we're very specific. They have to be right next to each other, and H has to be the first one, and there has to be a K behind it. Okay, so that does put some limitations here, as opposed to, I guess the next most restrictive would be the J and the M, but here they could be either M first and then J, or J first and then M. So just kind of rule of thumb, try to go with, when you've got a wide open question like this, try to go with the H's and the G's, or, the most restrictive ones. And it looks like that would mean I would test out A and B first. So let's just try this. Let's see what happens when we do A. Alright, so if we say can't be true, let's try G on 3. Well, if G is on 3, let's just play this out real quickly. Again, I know I'm taking a lot of time on this. Probably not going to be able to get, probably just finish up this question and I'll have to pause again. But as you practice this more, this gets faster. But I put that there, and I know that H has to be right next to G, so I've got to put the H right there, and I have to put the K right here too, right? Because K has to be behind, we have to have that block. Alright, so if I put G on 3, here's what I've got. Well, that means I have to do J, M next to each other and an L. So J and M, the order doesn't really matter, but I do have to put an L right there. And then that means I can do either J or M here, and then the other one J or M over there. Does that break any of our rules? It looks like it does not, right? Because look at these here. We know that 6 has to be either L or G, so that's fine. And then on 4 and 5, we didn't have any restrictions on J or M, so check, check. That would work. Meaning, we have to eliminate this answer choice, because we're looking for stuff that can't work. I know. Some of these things can take a while, but like I said, as you practice them, you get faster with it. But this is kind of an irritating question setup. There's not a lot that we can eliminate. All right, well, let's move on to the next one. Fingers crossed we'll see. Let's see. So now let's see if hedge trimming cannot be on 3. So if I put H on 3, all right, that means I have to put G right here, right? Right there, because it has to come right after it. And I know that one of these two in here have to be K. Right? K has to go in there somewhere. Well, but now we got a little bit of an issue. And we know that, well, since we put G over here, we know L has to be right there, right? Because look at remember our master sketch said number 6 has to be either G or L. And if I put G on 3, oh, excuse me. Did I put it on? Oh, excuse me. If I put H on 3, then G is on 4, so L has to go here. Well, now we got a little bit of a problem, though. Because we have to have J and M right next to each other. Well, that means I have to put them right here in spaces 1 and 2. I can't fit both J and M here, but if I put J and M right here, then I can't put K in there. We have a contradiction, right? I know K has to be either here or here on space 1 or 2, but I also have to squeeze J and M right next to each other, and there's no space to do that except for 1 and 2. So it looks like this is our correct answer, B. B is the one that cannot work. Okay? We can't do that one because it would violate our rules if we did. Now, again, I know it's kind of like, well, what if I went the other way? What if I started with motorbike servicing and went my way backwards? Well, it would just take you a lot longer to do. You just have to go through and see that, oh yeah, that could work there, could work here, and you just have to, chomp your way through it. So this is why I would recommend is checking your answer choices and seeing which ones involve the most restricted, the most limited of your entities, your players. Okay, anyway, this is running a little bit long. Let's pause this one and we'll look at the next couple of questions in the next video.